Hey everyone, welcome back. Before we get into the stories, I need to give a trigger warning for story numbers 1 and 4 for sexual harassment and assault, and also a warning for story number 6, which mentions the death of a child. If you want to avoid stories like that, now you know. And if any of you have a story that you'd like to share, you can send it at southerncannibal.com. Without any more further interruptions, let's get into the stories. And remember to always stay hungry. My name is Rose. I'm a female, and at the time of this story I was 18. I lived in Oregon, and I went on a vacation to Eureka, California with my dad and stepdad. The first morning we woke up in the hotel, I had told my father that I wanted to go have breakfast at the buffet, and neither nor my stepdad or my dad wanted to come, so I went by myself. I'd walked to the buffet to get my breakfast, and I then went to the tea and the coffee area. That's when I noticed this strange man staring at me as I was pouring my drink. Shortly after, I decided to head back to my room, and I didn't really think about the man again. After I got back to my hotel room though, I then realized that I forgot to grab a spoon for my yogurt, so I headed out of my room for one last time. I went to get my spoon, and I had headed back to my room when I noticed that the same man was staring at me in the gym doorway because my room was near the gym. As I went to turn around to put my key card in, I then felt someone come up right behind me. That's when I turned around to see who it was, and lo and behold, it's the same man from before. I asked if he needed anything because he was literally just standing there and not saying a single word. This is where it takes a really disgusting turn. As I'm looking at him, he then points down to his private area, and he actually had his junk out, much to my disgust. As you can all imagine, this horrified me, and I then sprinted away to the hotel laundry room. Thankfully, there was a staff member there, and I then relayed everything that happened thus far, all while crying out of fear, as I'm actually a victim of sexual assault in the past. The woman took me to the front desk, where they then called the police. When the police arrived, he had asked me a few questions while reviewing the hallway footage. He then actually said to me, "Welcome to California. You should have kicked him in the balls or threw your food at him." So yeah, the police were essentially useless. I don't even know if they ever did anything about this guy, and I don't know where this man is now, but I really hope he hasn't done these same things to any other women, and hopefully he's rotting in a jail cell somewhere. This was a very traumatic experience for me, and it brought back my PTSD, which is never a fun experience. Anyways, thanks to everyone who listened, and be careful. This took place during my senior year of high school. It happened on my 18th birthday, so you can say that it wasn't a good way to celebrate. Anyway, I was out late that night with my 3 friends, John, Tracy, and Zoe. We were at the casino playing on the slot machines and just doing everything in the casino. Well, after having some fun for about 4 hours, we'd went to our room at the hotel in the casino. We decided to all share one room since we didn't want to spend too much money on each of us getting a room. So John and I shared one bed, and Tracy and Zoe shared the other. Well, at about 3:30 in the morning, we were all woken up to a loud pounding on the door. It was 3:30 a.m. there, and there was no way in hell any of us were answering it. Then that same pounding happened again. Zoe then got out of bed to look at the peephole. She said that there was a guy who looked to be in around his 40s in a bathrobe. She then asked out loud, "What do you want, bro? It's 3:30 in the morning. We're trying to sleep." The guy on the other end just said,
"Hey, it's housekeeping."
I looked out the peephole to see the guy, and I then told him we're doing fine. We don't need anything. I clearly knew he wasn't a housekeeper because he was in a bathrobe, so he was obviously a guest there. I actually even told him this, that I knew he wasn't a housekeeper because he was a guest and he was wearing a robe. Then the guy said back,
"Let me inside or I'm gonna break down the fucking door."
Tracy then went to the door and told the guy to leave or she'd be calling the front desk. Then the guy lost it. He said that he had a gun and he then demanded to be let in or he would break down the door and shoot all of us. John then stepped in. Then he said, "Listen, motherfucker, if you don't get the fuck away from our room, I'm calling the police." The guy then started kicking our door all while screaming like a maniac. Tracy called the front desk and John called the police. And the police arrived in about 5 minutes. They arrived and arrested the guy, and we went to the police to explain everything that happened. They said the guy was wanted for breaking and entering. The guy that tried breaking into our room looked really pissed in the face, like an angry demon that came straight out of hell or something. The police took the guy away, and he was actually banned from ever entering that casino or the hotel ever again. We checked out later that morning, and we never went back there again after that horrible experience. This happened a couple of years ago when I was living in a hotel with family. I remember my brother living in the same complex, and he had some friends coming over. One of them said hey, and this random chick I've never met said it after they did, and then went on to say, "Sorry, I just heard him say your name, so I figured I'd say hi too." Okay, that's weird, but whatever. Some time passes by, and I'm standing outside trying to get some fresh air. Well, that same lady comes up to me to try and strike up a conversation. I was weirded out that she still knew my name and was trying to talk to me. I kept my answers and responses short, and she just kept going, and going, and going, until finally, she actually invited me over to her apartment. I politely declined, and a response back was, "Oh, come on, big guy. It's not a big deal. Besides, I'm kinda lonely, and I want some company." Another red flag. I again declined her offer, and so she then said this, "Look, just come with me, okay? I could really use some company." This time, I wasn't so polite. I just blew her off and went back into my apartment. Looking back, that was a mistake. Why? Well, now she knows what room I'm in and would most likely come back later. Surprise to no one, she does. It was nighttime around the time she came by, and she was really drunk. She started to ramble on about how I blew her off, even though we had never even planned anything. After some more drunken bitching, she then says this, "You can make it up to me by walking me to my room." I was already really annoyed with her, so I told her no. She gets pissed and she says that I owe it to her. I told her I didn't owe her jack, and then slammed the door. She then just started screaming from the other side of the door, but I don't really remember what she said. So the next morning comes, and I wake up, and I see that she's freaking sleeping on the other bed that was in my room. I called the front desk and I told them about her, but according to them, she was living with me, and she had apparently lost her key. I told them that she in fact did not live with me, and that she's trespassing. Well, that's what I was planning to do before my mom opened my door to see what was going on. The clerk realized that they had really fucked up, and they told me the security was on the way. After I hung up, I saw my mom shake this woman awake. She told her to get out of my room, and this lady responded back with, "I ain't going fucking nowhere, lady." I told her the security was on the way, and she literally just shrugged and just sat there on the bed, saying that I still owed her, and that I was going to pay her back whether I liked it or not. After her and my mom going back and forth, with the lady becoming more and more insistent, security finally came. My mom opened up the door and then pointed to her. She still refused to budge and had even flipped off the security. What really made her leave was the guard mentioning that if she didn't leave my room, the police would be notified. She went pale and she then freaked the fuck out, literally throwing herself at his feet and screaming, "No, don't call the cops. I'm already on probation. I'm begging you, don't call the fucking cops on me." She left in a hurry and ran back to the room she was actually staying in. We got the sheets off the bed that she slept in, and everything seemed to have gone back to normal. Throughout her stay though, anytime she saw me, she would always shoot an icy glare at me, and I'd just roll my eyes at it. After some time though, she ended up actually getting evicted, and I could hear all the screaming from that side of the complex that she was staying in. Out of curiosity, I decided to take a peek, and I saw her physically fighting with one of the officers, and she saw me. She then started running towards me, and I slipped right back into my room. Needless to say, she went back to jail. I don't know what it was that she was on probation for, nor is it any of my business, but I just hope she got the help she desperately needs. I know this might seem exaggerated, and I might be remembering things wrong, but I pieced together what I could because my memory tends to be a bit shit. Regardless, this bitch was freaking crazy, and she really freaked me the hell out. Moral of the story? The phrase stranger danger exists for a reason. Please be careful out there, people. I'm a male, and I was 13 when this happened. I'm 19 now, and it still gives me the creeps to this day. I was at a hotel with my older sister who was 15 at the time, and my mom. We were out of town visiting relatives during the summer when school wasn't in session. My sister and I went to the pool room with our 4 cousins to go hang out for a while our moms went for a girls' night out. After about 2 hours in the pool, we showered in the showering area in the pool room and dried off. My sister and cousins went back to our room to hang out. I told them I'd catch up with them since I had something else I needed to do first. Later on afterwards, we had all gotten dressed, and I went to the vending machine to get us all some snacks and sodas with my allowance. Well, as I just went up to the snack machine, there was an older guy that approached me from behind, and he looked to be in his late 20s. He said to me,
"Hey there, what are you doing?"
I told him I was just grabbing some snacks and sodas for me, my sister, and cousins. He then said,
Do you think you can get me one as well? I left my wallet in my room, but I'll pay you back, I promise."
I then told him, "I'd really like to, man, but I'm kind of on a budget. Sorry, man." Well, what he said and did next freaked me the fuck out. He then said,
"Oh wait, never mind. Here's 2 snacks I can have for free."
Then he grabbed my ass with one hand and grabbed my groin with his other hand, and he was squeezing them. I told him to let me go and knock it off. And after that, he pulled down my pants. He then pushed me down to the floor, and he took my pants off from my ankles. He then stuck his hand down my underwear and began squeezing my private parts. He even then force-kissed me on the mouth. His lips tasted so damn bad, like he hadn't brushed his teeth in a month. I started screaming for help. That's when my older sister came by and then tackled the guy. My sister was actually on the wrestling team from her freshman year to her senior year in high school, so she tackled the guy good. She also gave him a black eye and a bloody nose, and she even headbutted him. I put my pants back on and I kicked the guy in the face while he was still lying on the ground. We then told our mom, aunt, and cousins what happened. Our moms freaked out, and we told the girl working at the front desk. She then took a look at the cameras and she called the police. The guy was arrested and banned for that hotel for life. If it wasn't for my sister tackling the guy would have likely done much worse to me. Thankfully, none of us saw the guy again after that. To the guy who grabbed my ass and pulled my pants off and tackled me to the floor, who planned to do so much more worse things to me, I really hope you burn in hell. I'm a guy, and this happened when I was 19. On this particular night, I got into a heated argument with my girlfriend. It was about her accusing me of staring at another girl's butt while we were shopping at the mall. I told her I wasn't, and that I was just stretching out my neck, but she wasn't buying it. So I told her she can have the house to herself for the night because I was going to stay at a hotel. I packed my suitcase, got in my car, and drove to the hotel I was going to be staying at. I got there, checked in, and went up to my room on the 3rd floor. The room had one of those doors you can see into the pool room on the other side of the room. It was getting late, so I decided to watch some TV for a while, then head to bed. After about 3 hours of watching TV, I turned it off and went to sleep at around 1:30 in the morning. I was woken up at about 4:30 to the sound of knocking coming from the door to the view of the pool room. The curtains were shut, so I didn't see who it was. I turned on the table lamp and saw a black figure standing outside that same door. I then saw the figure raise its arms slowly, and I could see a knife in the shadow. I immediately got out of my bed, put on my shoes and hoodie, took my phone, wallet, car keys, and room key, and got out of there, going out the other door. I neglected to put on my pants because I wanted to save time. So there I was, in my hoodie, shoes, and tidy whities, running down 3 flights of stairs, then out the front door and into my car, and I got in and sped off. I didn't go to my own house because my girlfriend was there. I just drove for miles. After about 45 minutes of driving, I drove back to the hotel, and I went back inside and back to my room. When I got to my room, I saw that the lamp was still on, but the shadow figure from before was gone. Nothing was broken or stolen, so I was alright. Also, thankfully there was nobody in the lobby or front desk at the time I left and returned to the hotel, because I wasn't wearing pants. I stayed in my room for about 2 hours to relax. Then I got dressed and went down for the continental breakfast. 3 hours after breakfast was over, I then checked out and left. But before I checked out, I had told the girl at the front desk about my experience around 4:30 in the morning. She said that she looked at the cameras and she saw that there was a guy that looked to be in his 40s or 50s with unwashed hair, and he had a long beard, and he was just standing at the door with the view of the pool room. He apparently had a steak knife in his hand, and he just stood there for about 10 minutes before leaving. I ended up going home afterwards, and I sorted things out with my girlfriend, and I told her my experience. Needless to say, I'm never staying at that hotel again. I was 18 at the time, and I had just graduated high school, and I went to stay at a hotel for the night after the water heater in my house broke. I had my older brother go over to my house to fix it since he's a professional at doing that kind of stuff. He even told me to let it sit for a while so it can work its way to working again. So after I checked in, I went to my room and unpacked my bags. I decided to watch some TV for a while before leaving to go get something to eat at one of the restaurants down the block. 4 hours after I got back to my room, around 10:30 p.m., I got a call from the girl at the front desk. She told me to stay in my room with the door locked because there was apparently a guy in the hotel with a gun. I immediately went into panic mode. I made sure that the door was locked, which it was, and I then went into my bed. I then pulled the blankets over me because I was seriously that terrified. Just then, I heard 2 gunshots, and there was a guy and a woman screaming. Then the guy with the gun went banging on other guest doors, and for each door he banged on, he screamed,
"Open the fucking door or I'm gonna break it in and shoot you!"
I felt my heart racing. Then seconds later, he came to my door and banged on it very hard, saying he was going to break the door in and shoot me if I didn't let him in. My heart was practically racing, and I was crying at the same time. I was so fucking scared that I ended up shitting myself. I'm not even kidding. I had to lay in my bed in my shit-filled pants until the all clear was given. Then the guy moved on to another door and ended up breaking that one in. I then heard a woman screaming from that room. Then the guy ran off with a little girl in that same room who he had kidnapped. The woman was now screaming for the man to bring back her daughter. Then I heard a loud, "Drop the gun and let the girl go." The cops were here. They managed to arrest the guy, and the girl reunited with her mom. The all clear was given, and I went to the bathroom to freshen up and then changed into clean clothes. I discarded my soiled clothes, and I was really relieved that the guy was taken out of the building by the cops. When the police had investigated everything that happened, they said that when those 2 gunshots went off, The guy that had the gun had shot and killed a 12-year-old boy, and the man and woman that screamed afterwards were his parents. I'm 27 years old now. I still to this day cannot believe this fucking happened. It's absolutely horrifying to think about. I really hope those two parents are doing better now, but with losing a child, I highly doubt it. Hey everyone, I hope you all enjoyed these stories. If you ever want to submit your own, you can do so at southerncannibal.com. Have a good night everyone, and remember to always